I'm so excited to tell you about the story of GitLab Frontend evolution. My name is Fatih. I am a senior front-end engineer at GitLab. I'm also a Google developer expert in web technologies. And you can find me on Twitter, GitLab, and also, of course, GitHub with the username @FatihAcet. So let's talk about what is GitLab. GitLab is an open source software development tool which provides a single application for every step of your DevOps lifecycle. I will tell you what this means. So it's and GitLab's goal is to make software development faster, so you can spend more time writing on your code and doing your actual stuff like instead of working with the configuration and maintaining stuff. So this means what I mean with the single application for complete DevOps lifecycle is this. Where is it? Yeah, okay. So we have this manage, plan, create, verify, secure, package, release, configure, and monitor steps. This is the steps of a DevOps lifecycle, and we try to provide a single application for every step of this DevOps lifecycle. For example, for the manage step, we have cycle analytics, and we have DevOps score. For plan, we have issue tracker, issue boards, and for example, package, we have image building, container registry. For example, the release, we have CD, and we have also a CI, and automation like review webs. For the monitoring, we have metrics, infrastructure monitoring, and stuff like that. So we provide all of these within GitLab. So this is the repository view of GitLab, where you see the files in here, where you can see the overview repository, and this is the issue boards, which is pretty much the something like Trello, where you can drag and drop the issues on the boards, on different boards. This is merge request view, where you can see the merge request changes, and then you can merge it or close it, and then you can see the pipelines in here, which is the CI/CD configurations. This is the pipelines. So you can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 running pipelines, and this is passed, this is skipped, and yeah, this is also skipped. So let's talk about the GitLab company. GitLab is a remote-only company with more than 300 employees from 41 countries. And on the front-end side, we have 19 front-end engineers, and we are growing. I was I believe, 4th or 5th front-end employee when I joined at GitLab on 2016 May. And I was the 75th employee of GitLab, and now we have 320. We are growing really fast. I also want to mention on something about this team handbook, which GitLab offers. It is an open source guide, which is a really definitive guide that how we run our company. Basically, you can see that it is, for example, general rules, people operations, engineering functions, like the marketing, sales, finance, and product, and legal stuff. So you can basically find everything related with GitLab in these documentations. For example, how we do our front end, or how we do backend management, how we do our software management, also how we run our company, how we do our marketing efforts and stuff like that. Also, we are hiring. We have these. We have different engineering positions open. I was thinking I added the number of here, but I don't see it right now. So we have 10. I think we have 20 different engineering positions open right now. So let's talk about the GitLab frontend. I joined GitLab at May 2016, and at that time we had not at that time. GitLab is actually a Ruby on Rails application, and at that time we had the Rails Acet pipeline, which is something like something that allows you to build your CSS and JavaScript in a Rails magic way, which works really great for the small Rails application. But when you go in that scale, when you scale your application, so you feel like, okay, this is something that I need something more front-end tools. And then at that time we had jQuery-based code base. We still have, but we do better. So I will tell you I will share the more updates on this. And we had HAML templates, which is HAML is the language for a backend templating language, which works with the Ruby on Rails. And we also had some inline JavaScript in HAML templates. So it was basically like an old school classical application where you can render HTML on server and deliver to front end. And to do so, we had to for the template engine, we were using HAML, and then for some reason, for instantiating new classes or new stuff on JavaScript side, we needed to add some JavaScript code into HAML part. And then we were using CoffeeScript as our primary language, and then we were compiling the JavaScript, of course. But the thing is, I really love CoffeeScript, I still love, but it feels like ES6 is really can be a replacement of CoffeeScript, and that's why we replaced it with. And the reason is GitLab is an open source project, so everyone can contribute actually, but it was really hard for contributors to contribute with CoffeeScript code. And then we see a lot more contributions when we switch to JavaScript or ES6. And then we replaced on June 2016, we replaced CoffeeScript with ES6. And this was a merge request I created 2 years ago on a Saturday night with my lead. And it was basically, we write some bash scripts to basically get all CoffeeScript files and convert them to JavaScript files and write them into with the relevant name to relevant directories. And then I basically pushed everything with these merge requests, and it was like me, when they do git blame, I was like Fatih in every lines, and the code was basically a transpiled code from CoffeeScript to JavaScript. It was actually in a bad state, but the reason is why we did this is we will make sure that it will work, because in the end, the CoffeeScript will be compiled to JavaScript, and that's the code in production we use. So basically, we will make sure that, this will work in production, and it worked. On July 2016, we added ESLint to our code base. Vinny did this for us. And then on November 2016, we replaced Rails Acet pipeline with Webpack. And then we also replaced, with the same merge request, we replaced Teaspoon Rails Gem with Karma Test Runner. On 2017 of February, we switched to Yarn. And as you can see that we are going forward as a much more front-end technologies. We are adding much more front-end technologies to our stack. And I will take you a little bit back on time. On 2016, we added VueJS. When I click this, you will see some animations, but actually, it's not sorry, I wouldn't expect this. So I was actually thinking that this would be something cool, but no, not today. Anyways. And then on November 2016, we upgraded to Vue version 2. August 2016, and then a few, see that animation again, sorry. And then a few months later, when we add Vue to our stack, Vue version 2 released, and then we needed to it was basically a major version change, so we needed to do some adjustments to make sure that we upgraded to Vue version 2. Okay, so the question is, why did we choose Vue? As you can see from the timeline, we didn't have Webpack and NPM in our front-end stack. So basically, we considered that React or Angular, but they were requiring much more tooling at that time. And Vue is a progressive framework, which means that you can add Vue.min.js to your application, and then you can basically use it. So we basically didn't need to change anything. We just add, it's like jQuery.js. We added Vue.js into our code base, and we started creating Vue components on it. And then we started using single file components of Vue with Webpack when we had Webpack. So it is a progressive enhancement on your code base. And we are actually in a huge competition with GitHub. And so basically, we don't have any time to rewrite things. Like, we cannot sit down and start everything from scratch. We cannot do that. We have to make sure that we will ship to production in every 22nd of that month, no matter what. GitLab basically releases a new version on every 22nd of the month. So we cannot rewrite everything. There is really no time for that. Also, Vue was something much smaller, and it was actually much faster from the others, from the competitors. And it is actually a small framework, which is really easy to learn, and it allowed contributors to contribute because it's a really growing framework. So it was easy to find the contributors from outside, and also it was easy for us to learn. So we continue shipping on production without dealing with this highest learning curve. And also, Vue has a really great ecosystem and also the community, and it is actually, I believe it is the most started project on GitHub right now. So yeah. Oh, again, the start count doesn't mean anything on quality, but actually it shows that that's a trending project, and that it has attention from the JavaScript community. So that's something nice. So what is the outcome? When we add Vue to our stack, we see that we started to write less code. It was before the HAML templates are rendered on server, and then they get to the page they deliver to front end from the server, and then we do jQuery stuff like select this and bind click that, and then when you change page, make sure that we remove all the listeners, and it was something really crazy jQuery stuff. But with Vue, we started to write less code, and less code means, of course, less bugs, hopefully. And the bugs were easy to fix because you really don't need to write custom stuff. For example, when you click a button, if you want to change the text, you don't need to select that element or change the inner text or inner HTML of it. Vue does that. When you change the data, Vue will change that element text for you. So it was basically, it was easy for us to fix the bugs. And then we started to have reusable components. It is something really nice where you can create reusable components and then you can use it on the other page of your other part of your application. This is actually something nice. Vue allowed us to start working on real-time updates faster. Imagine that there's a merge request widget where you can merge a merge request. Let's open up two different tabs. When you merge a merge request on that tab, and you should accept that it is updated on the other page, right? With jQuery, we can do. Let's assume that we are doing polling to a server or a socket connection. With jQuery, you need to do you need to update a lot of stuff, like update this text, update that, update this, and stuff like that. But with jQuery, you just need to. With Vue, you just need to get the latest data and set it to your store, and Vue will make sure that Vue will update your component again, and you will make sure that it actually works, and it actually has the latest information on the page you want to show. Or for example, when someone writes a new comment to your merge request or issue, all we need to do is basically get the data and push it into the discussions array, and we will just render it. So we basically don't need to do anything. And this is a really huge moment for us to go on real-time updates path. How do we use Vue? We use Vuex for state management. I will tell you more about this later. We have standalone smart components. It is basically like single-page applications, but for the components, smart components. I will also tell you more about this. We build new things with Vue. We still have jQuery part. We still have HAML part because we cannot refactor everything. We cannot basically rewrite everything from scratch. So we still have legacy code, but we are replacing with the parts with Vue, and we build everything, every new stuff with Vue. Yeah, and we rewrite all parts when we really need to. This means if we will create something else on top of that existing feature, we consider that, so it is time to rewrite it with Vue because we are planning to add something more onto this component, onto this page. And that is the decision point of a rewrite if we want to. So how do we use Vue again? This is the merge request page. So this is actually a component itself. As you can see, the yellow area. Yeah. On the HAML side, we just have an element called, for example, div ID merge request widget. And then when the page is loaded, we instantiate a new Vue component, which takes the data from server as a JSON and then renders this component. And then we do some polling to server to get the latest data, and then we update the store, and Vue will do, for example, this approved by or merged by title. So Vue will do the real-time updates for us. This is a component, and this is also another component, the discussions. There is another component, the assignee, and then we have this and this another component. So on the page, multiple smart components on the page. This is the merge request changes tab, where you can see the change divs. And this whole thing as a component, and then this is actually another component which you see from the previous page. It is basically the nodes component. We reuse that on here. Yes, let's talk about this. So, for example, this component and the changes component should share some data between them. For example, the discussions you see here was actually also on the changes tab. For example, if you add a new discussion here, or if you add a discussion on changes tab, it should be visible also on discussions tab. There is a component also in here I forgot to highlight, which says 2 of 2 discussions resolved. For example, if you create a new discussion, it should be 2 of 3 discussions resolved. And when you resolve that, it should be 3 and 3 discussions resolved. So to share the data between those components, we have Vuex in place, and we use Vuex modules. And so this can share data between them. For example, if you resolve a discussion in here, we will make sure that it is also be also shown as resolved on the changes tab, because they share the same data using a Vuex store. Yes. So the feature plans of GitLab. Our first and biggest plan is to make it faster. That's what we are trying to do. And we are trying to make it reusable with the components I just showed you. we are creating a design system called GitLab UI, which will be the language of the UI, and we will reuse that on the different parts of GitLab. We are trying to build toolings to optimize workflows and automate things. Like, because automating is something really important. Let's say that if you build a tool which will allow one developer, let's say, 10 minutes a day, and then with that scale, going that scale, 300 developers or 300 members of a team would be a lot of time to save. And also, yeah, we are hiring. So we are planning to expand our front-end team. So questions, I think you can find me outside. Thank you. That was it.